After her incredible Britain's Got Talent audition, Susan Boyle achieved unimaginable success. Although she wasn't popular, her powerful voice changed that. She was a successful America's Got Talent champion and worth over $45 million. After that, she disappeared from view. Discover the singer's fate and story with us. Susan Boyle lives to prove readers shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Susan Boyle was born on April 1, 1961. Father Patrick Boyle sang and was a minor in 1 or 2, while Mother Bridget Boyle was a shorthand typist. She lives in West Lothian, Scotland, and grew up in a council house with 4 older brothers and 6 older sisters. Susan's only solace was music after being rejected at school. She participated in local talent searches and sang in her parish church choir. Susan declined her mother's suggestion to audition for Britain's Got Talent because she was too old. Susan could not audition when it began in 2004, but after her mother died in 2007, she auditioned in 2008. Her sick mother died after she cared for her. This was her first public performance. Susan's vocal cover of I Dreamed a Dream on Britain's Got Talent in Glasgow received a standing ovation. Amanda Holden called it the biggest wake-up call ever, citing people looking down on her beauty. After her global success, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher tweeted to support Susan Boyle. Her audition video has the most YouTube views. Susan began her career as an artist by touring with her fellow contestants and working on her debut album. Despite finishing second and facing early challenges due to exhaustion, Susan inspired many by proving dreams are possible at any age. I Dreamed a Dream, her November 2009 debut album, sold over 2 million copies worldwide in its first week. This is the fastest-selling female debut album ever. Susan's dream began as distant as the stars. Her mother Bridget was 47 and had little money to raise her, the youngest of 6 sisters and 4 brothers. Susan was told her learning disabilities were caused by oxygen deprivation during birth. She learned something new about her diagnosis at the height of her career. The school was hard for Susan. Teachers and peers bullied her relentlessly. She described how difficult it was to keep up in a fast-paced learning system in a heartfelt interview. I learned slowly, she said. I learned slower than others, so you get left behind in a fast-paced system. That felt like my situation. She was cruelly belted by her teachers for her academic struggles. Her classmates called her Susie Simple and insulted her, making school the worst time of her life. Bullying and corporal punishment stunted her self-growth and made school harder. Susan's subtle way of proving her tormentors wrong was to perform on Britain's Got Talent. Her performance was sweet revenge. On her first album, she wrote and performed You'll See to remind her bullies that she survived their heartlessness. However, her path was difficult. Susan revealed her childhood tragedy in 2011. Apart from the undiagnosed learning disorder, she had epilepsy. The doctors diagnosed Susan correctly, but her parents and teachers couldn't manage her epilepsy. The doctors diagnosed Susan correctly, but her parents and teachers didn't know how to treat her epilepsy. Musicians know this condition. Epilepsy affects Sir Elton John, Neil Young, and Lil Wayne. Susan's diagnosis was gravely mishandled. She had frequent school seizures, which gave her bullies more ammunition. She would faint during lessons and wake up to her classmates calling her names and laughing. Not much better at home. Her parents overprotected her during episodes and left her alone if the problem got worse. She was called touchy by her father when she requested help. We thought Susan's epilepsy was related to her learning disabilities, but it wasn't, so it went untreated. Susan graduated with few qualifications, as expected. Due to her undiagnosed learning disability and lack of qualifications, she had trouble finding work. Susan applied to many places but didn't hear back or failed her first interview. She worked as a trainee cook at West Lothian College for 6 months. She mostly moved between government training programs without a stable job or income. She enjoyed performing at local venues despite these challenges, which was her musical career until a tragic loss inspired her to pursue a dream she hadn't dared before. Despite her difficult family life, Susan Boyle believed in forgiveness and selflessness. Her childhood was poor, and she famously said on Britain's Got Talent that she had never been married or kissed. Modesty and decency guided her life decisions. After her father died, her siblings left their 4-bedroom council house, leaving their old, sick, and frail mother. Only Susan and her 10-year-old cat Pebbles stayed. After becoming a world-class musician and earning millions, Susan still lives in her childhood home and enjoys simplicity. After her mother, Bridget Boyle, died, Susan wouldn't answer the door or phone for 3 or 4 days, according to a neighbor. Susan is a Roman Catholic who sings in her church choir and visits elderly members in their homes. Before stardom, she described her life as mundane and routine on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2010. In December 2013, Susan revealed her 2012 Asperger's diagnosis in a BBC interview. Additionally, she has epilepsy. When asked about internet dating in November 2012, she joked that she was too scared, saying, "Knowing my luck, I'd go out on a date and you'd find my limbs scattered around various Blackburn dustbins." Susan backed the Better Together campaign to keep Scotland in the UK in the 2014 independence referendum in July 2013. She said, "I'm a proud Scot who loves my country, but I'm not a nationalist. We have kept our proud identity while being part of Britain," she said. Susan, a non-drinker with type 2 diabetes, was diagnosed in June 2013. In November 2014, the media reported that she had a nearly identical aged boyfriend who claimed to be her first. After a Britain's Got Talent show on June 4, 2023, she revealed she had a small stroke in 2022. Why does Susan Boyle stay in her childhood home? Susan Boyle's kind face and lack of fancy attire on Britain's Got Talent were ignored, but her beautiful voice wowed the judges. From terrible bullying to a standing ovation before, during, and after her performance garnered global attention. Susan's audition clip went viral in a week and was watched over 100 million times. Compilations of her 1,999 Cry Me a River performance went viral. Susan struggled with illness and fatigue throughout the show. Still, she did well in the final, finishing second to diversity. She won the biggest battle of her life. To please the public, the government increased defense spending. Susan's show taught many people that they should never give up on their dreams, no matter their age. Her November 2009 debut album, I Dreamed a Dream, was a smash hit, one of the fastest-selling female debut albums. In its first week, it sold over 2 million worldwide and broke UK sales records. It was Amazon's best-selling album in pre-sales. I Dreamed a Dream was the world's best-selling album in its year of release, selling over 9 million copies. In 1991, SoundScan reported the highest first-week sales for a beginner female artist's album, according to Billboard News. After this success, Susan Boyle set numerous Guinness records, including the fastest-selling debut album of a female artist, the highest first-week sales, and the oldest person to reach the record in the UK. Susan's powerful voice and story inspired people worldwide, especially in America. She received acclaim on America's Got Talent. The days of undermining ended. Susan accepted her success and stopped worrying. She fully engaged with the world rather than watching it. Susan was enjoying her life as the protagonist. After the success of her debut album, she released The Gift in 2010 and Someone to Watch Over Me in 2011. After a hiatus, she released Standing Ovation, The Greatest Stage Songs in 2012, a holiday album. Hope was her second groundbreaking album, followed by A Wonderful World in 2016. Due to old age and health issues, Susan took an indefinite break from music. Susan's fans were surprised in 2019 when she released 10, her best album, to celebrate a decade of music. Again, she defied the odds and made music history. She triumphed, but was sad. Susan's loyal fans noticed how her heartbreaking diagnosis changed her. Despite her many talents, she prefers a quiet life, away from the spotlight. Tragedy lurks beneath her success. Susan said, "I had a lot of fun making the album, and I hope people like it too." If Susan Boyle's success arc surprised you, prepare for heartbreaking revelations that will change everything you know about her. Would these revelations change your view of Susan's story? Find out. Susan Boyle was world famous after Britain's Got Talent, but the rigorous training exhausted her. Fame was new to her, but she liked singing. She struggled to keep up with interviews, smiling for paparazzi, and addressing harsh and rude critics after the show. Susan lost the show and was hospitalized after the finale, despite her fame. 5 weeks of media scrutiny had exhausted her, making her frail. Susan's breakdown was revealed later. She slammed the show's manager after failing to win public votes, despite her talent. According to set rumors, Susan threw water at a staff member while yelling that she hated the show. Her London home staff called the police that night due to her odd behavior. Susan was hospitalized for mental health issues hours later. The news of her breakdown spread quickly, and Britain's Got Talent producers ignored Susan's fragile mental and physical health before the final. Ofcom, the UK's media regulator, wanted to investigate the show for prioritizing ratings over participants' health, but it was scrapped. Susan learned to lighten her music schedule after this experience, but her touring schedule was too busy. She still performed well for her fans while recording. After receiving an accurate learning disability diagnosis in 2013, Susan suffered another career setback. Interestingly, there was no brain damage. Her young self was misdiagnosed. The singer has Asperger's syndrome. Hearing such a revelation was heartbreaking but fortunate. Susan believed a birth imperfection had permanently damaged her for years. She considered herself unlucky in school. She received her first proper treatment after being diagnosed with Asperger's. Susan told The Guardian that brain damage labels were always cruel and unfair. Her inner self knew she was like everyone else, but had her own way. She also hoped her diagnosis would promote neurodivergent-friendly treatment. I think people will treat me better because they will understand who I am and why I do what I do. Many fans and critics supported Susan after her brave disclosures. People liked her honesty about her life, which many celebrities avoid. In addition, Susan had to give up her only vice, chocolate, in the same year. This is complicated when she got type 2 diabetes. The diagnosis was timely, but Susan had to adjust to a new lifestyle and autism. Later, the pandemic forced her to take extra precautions against COVID-19, causing another break in her music career. She was forced to stay home for 2.5 years, avoiding people who could have helped her record another groundbreaking album. Susan's life went beyond fame and albums. Home life was bad too. She bought a house in 2010 with her earnings. However, rowdies threw rocks, tried to break in, and threw fire-lit paper at her house, making her life miserable. She returned to her childhood home and gave it to her niece. Susan was sad about these events, but her sister's illness forced her to take a break before her 2015 return. Her sister Bridie, who was closest to Susan, died of cancer at 73, leaving Susan devastated. Susan also looked after Bridie's daughter. After Susan's huge success, Bridie was a caring sister. She supported Susan when the media criticized her appearance and kept her grounded when success followed her. Bridie looked after Susan during her ugly fight with her brother Jerry. Everyone wanted a piece of Susan's millions, including her siblings. Susan gave Jerry €7,500 to save his failing business, causing the problem. When her siblings objected, Susan said Jerry had threatened to commit suicide if she didn't give him the check. Their relationship soured, and Jerry publicly accused Susan of lying. Susan's public breakdown at Heathrow Airport in 2016 reunited the siblings, ending their feud sweetly. Unfortunately, Susan Boyle's health issues persist. In May 2022, she had a minor stroke, making music even harder. After a stellar performance on Britain's Got Talent, she sang with the West End cast of Les Miserables, which touched her deeply. Susan said it was important to return to the stage after her stroke, saying, that night she took to Instagram to tell her followers she had to practice speech to perform her favorite song, I Dreamed. Her hard work paid off, and she still plays music despite her health issues. Despite the stroke that delayed her new music, Susan Boyle still performs for her fans when she can, though she stays out of the spotlight. Susan recently regretted not having children. She has a secret life with an American beau whose identity is unknown even to the most interested media. She told The Mirror in 2016 that she was chatting with an American doctor, but not seriously. Since then, media reports say Susan is in a happy, stable relationship. She has no plans to marry or reveal her partner. Her love life is unknown, but her boyfriend joins her on birthdays. Fans wanted new music before her big show appearance. We wait for Susan Boyle's next musical project, but she keeps giving.